Hello, everyone. Welcome to F.A.L.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T, aka 159, aka they made such a fuss about giving it to me, but I spend more time getting it turned down. It is a futile fall showdown, breathing really hard and stuttering and stuff since 2021. All 525 songs going head to head. We are in round 3. Work in progress. Due about 2026. Big love to Danny and his Phoenix like re-annotating the fall and all them what fall. Bad and good. Joined as always by Alistair Aspinwall, the Pemberton Walker. How are you doing, Alistair?
Hey, I paid my rates this week. Hurrah! So WFM will survive for another year.
Nice. I'll pay him tomorrow. Dan, the fall of Dan continues. How is it?
Wonderful. The new Richard Ashcroft just dropped, so I've been celebrating at my Ashcroft shrine.
Someone sent it to me. It was like it's over like a loop of like Helen Reddy B-side or something.
Yeah, there's one that's over classical gas as well. It's a real thing. You've got to hear it.
Brilliant. And joined by now we call him friend of the show, Philip Lee, on his second journey. Last time he was making faux pas left, right, and centre. How are you set for today?
Oh, still hopefully as tongue-tied as ever. Don't know what I'm talking about. I'll just kind of, pull something out the air and try and make it sound erudite.
Brilliant. And joined for the first time by my good friend Vladimir. Vlad, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, sir. Not too bad. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, well, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Have you come across the fall much in your journeys as a session musician and
I don't know. Are they from Serbia?
Romani musician?
Are they from Serbia? No.
Serbian. As a Serbian, what do you know of the fall?
I heard of the Serbian version of the fall, but that's the spin-offs. That's all I heard.
Fair enough. I won't push you too far. I can see you're nervous.
Is that a real thing?
Well, the fall, yeah. I hope you've listened to the playlist.
That I wasn't aware of. You mean the fake thing that you sent me with all the wrong links? That one?
Well, we've got to keep you on your toes, haven't we? We know your type. All right. So tonight we've got New Puritan against The Reckoning, my ex-classmates, Kids versus Hard Life in the Country, and Dr. Buck's Latter against Last Command of Xyolthrep, if that's how I'm saying it. Dan, you came across something on a podcast this week that was of interest to you that you sent us a link for. Some sort of comedian just back from where he'd been back to selling out in the Middle East.
Yeah, failed Guardian writer, ex-children's TV presenter Stuart Lee has potentially had a bit of a go at us. But maybe not us. It might have been having a go at those American lads who we're friends with, or one of the other 15 fall podcasts. But I think it's us. But then again, it's about heavy breathing. Who's the heavy breather here? I'm the stutterer, clearly.
I mean, I'm currently eating a pizza, so that can't be helping.
I'm the other stuff,
There's an irony, isn't there, in him, the biggest Fall fan, and also a man who ended his TV career with a 15-minute piece where he was pretending to eat a poppadom, having the gall to say that we are breathing too hard on our podcast and stuttering, and it's not, and it's hard to listen to. Come on, Stuart. Started out like, nom, 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 breathing, ha, 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 Stuart. Repeating things until they become amusing by the sheer nature of repetition and collective unease. We can all do it, but we choose not to.
Maybe if we demonstrated professionalism for one episode, so we could frame this as a choice. But I think he probably sees it as pure amateurism, which he claims to love.
I think the mask has slipped. All I can say is, I think we want him to come on here and defend himself, but that's what he wants, so that's not what we want.
As far as I'm concerned, it's him and Jeff Boycott.
He's done. Anyway, let's have a list of the New Puritan. Someone who's talking truth, speaking truth to power. Got to share my screen, haven't I?
Yeah,
How do I do that?
Don't know. Where's these Japanese adverts?
I live my life in the city. Come on.
The grotesque peasants stop the land, and deep down inside, everybody wants to like big companies. Bands send tapes to famous apes, male slags, male slates, famous apes, water, cater,
Dan, coming to you first. Oh no, I only played the other song, don't I? Get together, O'Leary.
未経験からトレーナーとして活躍するために一番大切なこと、それは
That advertising gyms.
Is it?
Still in marble and your hair was reckoning. Your friends are this compass mentors, and like most in leather jackets are converting.
And she's sleeping with some hippie halfwit who thinks it's Mr. Mark Smith. Never has a lyric in my life struck me more than that. Alistair, I'm coming to you first. We've got, I know I went to Dan first, I've changed my mind. I'm coming to Alistair first, I don't know why. But Alistair, we've got New Puritan up against, whatever, The Reckoning.
The Reckoning.
Middle Class Revolt, 1984.
1994.
1994. 1994, that's right.
Right. No, we got that straight. Yeah, New Puritan, it is one of my faves. It's just, like, it's got a real sort of like evil vibe to it, which I like. I love the really sort of like mocking feel to the backing vocals on the intro, and the way that builds up, it's just like vocals and drums, and then you get the sort of like the bass kicking in. Again, that's really nice sort of structure. The guitar's kind of all over the place. If you listen to it, it wanders quite a bit at times and then comes back into the fold. But it gets really, really nasty as well, which is like very, very much appealing to me. So well done there, Craig. Yeah, brooding bass lines. The way the drums drop in and out as well works really well, really sort of cut up. Yeah, that constant guitar noise, though, in the intensity is I think that's the thing that really appeals to me. And, you know, the vocals, there's some good lyrics. Don't really pay attention to the lyrics much, as you well know. But the delivery at the timing and the little falsetto bit, which is very funny. Again, it's very, very difficult to criticise anything on this one. With The Reckoning, I mean, I quite like this as well. You've got like nice guitar riff with the keys working well, some nice chord progressions, but you know, it doesn't really go anywhere. It just repeats itself. I mean, yeah, they're falling off for repetition, like, but there's repetition and there's just sort of like Xeroxing and sticking it over again. Like, you know, you can get like something repeating, but with like another instrument doing something slightly
the wrong
different.
sort of repetition.
Yeah, flawed repetition. And then you just got sort of like saying Xeroxing. But yeah, Reckoning. It's all right. It's probably one of the better ones off the Middle Class. Is it Middle Class Revolt?
Yeah. It is indeed.
Aye.
Right. It's a sweet one. I've got a very soft spot for that, and not that particular album. But yeah, I mean, New Puritan. I'm calling it. It's going a long way in this competition, I would say. Stuart says
long way.
A long way, lad. The finest example of building tension through simply repeating over and over again with a minor variation in the catalogue. If I could bottle the essence of that dump, dump, dump beating razor-sharp guitar riff against a simple bass progression, I would inhale it all in one go and explode across the vastness in a spray of bile and bone, blissful. The Peel version, of course. The Totals thing is funny, but that's the extent of it. Dan, what's your take on these two?
So if Reckoning goes down today, it will not go down in vain, is what I will say. Let's see how they got here before we move on. New Puritan beat I'm Frank and Underground Medicine. Reckoning beat Everybody But Myself and Ballad of J Drummer. So both here on merit. I think these are two songs that deserve their place in round three. I'll go in reverse order. I like that kind of unfinished quality to Reckoning's lyric. That it's sort of a couplet that muses on heartbreak, but mediated via an insult, like classic Mez. But like seems to like almost turn the gun on himself a bit. like it seems like there's this regret, and more on Mez regrets later in this episode, I feel. Maybe it could do with more than just an ambivalent reckoning as the chorus, basically. But I like this song, and I think the synth work is really good. You know how I feel by now about early 90s fall, indie fall. Don't need to belabor this point. New Puritan, just 1 second. I love the song. There's not a lot I think I can really add, considering that like Frank Skinner's done like half an episode of a radio show on the song alone. One thing I do kind of worry with New Puritan is I think it has a slightly malign cultural influence. Like when you've got dicks like Andrew Doyle writing a book called New Puritans, which is all about like the postmodern, post-structuralist cultural fascists, and you've got like effete, refined art bands like these New Puritans. I find it actually like has been converted almost into the people who it's about have kind of taken it on and like used it as a kind of a route to try and reverse or reroute the insult. So like I listen to it and I think like, oh, like this is such a well done sneer that it's become diffuse. Like the song's amazing. Like I'm not going to like go on about it. Scanlon is Scanlon. Hanley just kills it. The vocal delivery, some of the funniest lines. But I just worry sometimes with it, or like I just find it's like its afterlife poisons my enjoyment a little.
Well, we know later Smith wasn't against railing against the middle mass and the students and later the immigrants to some degree. But who knows what he would have been railing against had he continued in that path. But the whole politics of the New Puritan idea, especially knowing that it was in the air in 1980 and has only become more so since then, is probably a topic that we shouldn't, but absolutely will get to be deep into. In LA, the window open, the switch is like a dinosaur cackle, a pterodactyl cackle, jet plane circle over imported trees. All the film ghosts will rise up with sexually abused and the new youth. In Britain, the scream of electric pumps in a renovated pub, your stomach swells up before you get drunk. Don't call me Peter, I can't go. Salem's just up the road and I've got work to do. Philip Lee, what do you make of these two tunes?
Yeah, I think, New Puritan, I want to say, can we just get rid of the music and just have it as just the lyric? I know that might be controversial.
We could if we want to make it far worse in every single way.
I think you would. I think, I was unmoved, shall we say, by the music itself.
Valid.
And I thought, but the lyrics I thought were very good. And I thought, obviously, when you're talking about Puritans, you're referring back to, the likes of Oliver Cromwell in his era. And I like to imagine in my fantasy land that it's a very modern drunk Oliver Cromwell who's come back and he's saying those things himself. And therefore, I think that you don't need any music to it. That was my kind of reaction.
Beautiful. A little bit Reed, a little bit Cromwell.
Yeah. And I thought, what was that other one, The Reckoning?
Yeah, The Reckoning.
Yeah, I thought, finally, some rhythm. I thought, nice bit of lilt. I thought it was reminded me of when I was, however old I was back in 1994 or something.
94, yeah, university age. This came out when, 94 was my second year at uni, I think. And we're about the same age. I'm considerably older than you, but we're about the same age.
Yeah. I think I was 19, I think, so you'll know. Anyway, and then, of course, it's probably well known to all of you, but it does sound rather like, or the other song, Dallas from the Silver Jews on the Natural Bridge album, which I'm sure you guys would be like, I bet, they just copied it, But I love the Silver Jews, and so a good lyrical swing was, I just loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I don't know that Silver Jews song off the top of my head, but I've got that album that it's on, which the Natural Bridge, right? But let's have a bit of a listen and see if it.
Dallas is the song.
Dallas. Well, it's interesting because he is actually in the lyrics to The Reckoning referring to an American girlfriend he had, and he says the line, "I phoned you up from Dallas, but your heart was still in marble." So there's a direct reference in the song itself. So who knows? And what year was that Silver Jews record?
96.
96, so a couple of years after. And Maltmus was involved, but I'm sure there's no chance that he was influenced. Beautiful. I don't know if I agree that it sounds like a Fall song, but I don't need an excuse to listen to David Berman. Rest in peace. Yeah, Vladimir, thank you for your patience waiting
it's
for
okay.
an hour to talk.
Yeah.
But how about these two tunes, the New Puritan and The Reckoning?
Yeah, so I thought that the Puritan starts, very promising with the drum pattern being a little bit out of ordinary, and I also quite enjoyed the when the guitars come in, because they're kind of panned in a different ways. So the first riff comes and it's panned kind of hard left, and then the second riff, when it comes in, it's panned hard right. So I thought that was kind of quite interesting, and there is a bit of interaction between the two parts, which I thought was quite cool. In terms of repetitiveness, I agree with Alistair. It seems like I'm kind of waiting for something new to come in, but it never arrives. Perhaps another instrument will do it a justice. What I also quite like, that at one point, the first pattern that is panned left, I think comes a bit more towards the middle, and it starts playing descending pattern that has like an Andalusian cadence.
I thought that too.
I know you did. I know. Phil, do you agree with me? Did you hear Andalusian cadence
100%.
there?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Myself, again, I don't pay too much attention to the lyrics, but I quite like the one where it says coffee table LPs. And I'm sure we've all been to houses of the people. When you enter their living rooms, they have a pile of LPs and possibly fake first editions of famous paperbacks on their coffee tables. They just sit there for the people like us when we arrive.
That type,
to be jealous and envious. So that kind of brought some of those memories back.
Yeah.
For me. For The Reckoning, I wasn't sure when it was published, so I was going to say the F.A.L.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T were either predecessors of the post-punk and new wave, or they jumped later on the bandwagon. But now you gave me the answer to that one.
But I mean, if you listen to some of the earlier stuff from the early 80s, they're very much the beginning of the post-punk kind of stuff. But this is much later, and gone through much more of an indie filter by that point, I think. Yeah.
So I kind of couldn't make up my mind. Do they sound like an early New Order in that piece, or do they have a bit of a kind of new romantic flair and flavor to it? But especially in terms of the guitar sound. But I quite liked it. Again. I'm surprised so far. As I said, I'm surprised by the guitar work, and I think it's quite imaginative. But it kind of stops. It doesn't deliver on its full potential. So,
I know. I know how you think. You're putting bridges in there and putting a section in 7/9 time. I know how you think. It's the same guitarist though. Both of those tunes are played by is the same guy. So so he does a range, a good range.
He definitely did. He definitely improved from one to the next. That's what I can say.
Get out of here. Yeah, thin ice there, Vladimir.
Sorry, go on. You're the host, not me.
I am, but I was about to read about the snare era. The snare era is still in effect, but anything else to add on those, Vlad, or should I move on?
No, please move on.
Good. All right. So the snare is spoken. New Puritan took me ages in the early 90s to track down the Kicker Conspiracy to hear the majestic Peel version. I was thinking this slight but intriguing Totals track was just a passable bit of home experimentation. It's amazing how a focused fraternal rhythm section can elevate the track to the top tier of the catalogue. So here you go. This will be good for you musicians out there to hear. Essentially what was Marquis Smith's demo version, which was then taken to be the version of the New Puritan that we heard earlier. Probably one of the biggest, I would say, changes and developments from a demo to a not that he would have called it a demo. In fact, I think he said, what did he say? The original version was recorded at home, during which said home was attacked by a drunk, which accounts for the tension on this track. He did not say whether or not he was the drunk in question. Windows 10, anyone?
Puritan, Puritan, Maelstrom, Cook One. And all hardcore fiends will die by me, and all decadent sins will reap discipline.
So quite the step up there from original to the Peel session. The song was never on any record, never released officially outside of Peel session. So it's one of those lost gems that is held dearly in the hearts of Fall fans, and that you two have no place shitting all over. I won't read all the lyrics, although I could. The conventional is now experimental. The experimental is now conventional. In LA, a drunk is sick on Gene Vincent's Star on Hollywood Boulevard. Stripping takes off in Britain's black spots. The Kensington white rastas run for cabs. This I have seen New Puritan in Britain. Dan, go for it.
The lyric that always struck me is the second line, which is deep down, everybody wants to like big companies. That came to mind this week outside of my obligations here when about 4 people that I know sent me the new Taylor Swift album to ask me what I thought of it. Because now everybody has to talk about the most popular music because it's also the best music. Felt like this lyric was quite prescient in a anticipating poptimism, possibly. Is that a reach? Yes, it is.
It's a little bit of a reach, but you know what? Someone else sent me a Taylor Swift song this week, and apropos of nothing, why don't we see if has she lifted something? Here's the question: have you heard this one?
Is it the one that borrows from a certain?
It might be that one.
A certain act.
The coke's got you brave. High fived my ex, and then you said you're glad he ghosted me. Wrote me a song saying it makes you sick to see my face. Some people might be offended, but it's actually sweet.
Stop.
All the time you've spent on me, it's honestly wild. All the effort you've put in, it's actually romantic. I really gotta hand it to you.
Anyway, we all do it a little bit from time to time. So, and again, never need an excuse to play some Twifty. Anyway, Dan, which way are you voting on these two?
They're closer than you'd think, and the only reason I'm going New Puritan is because Reckoning is touring's hard song, so New Puritan.
A little bit. Touring's hard. I've shacked up with this woman, and now I have to go back and I have to deal with the girlfriend. Apparently the story is that when he was here on tour or somewhere along the line, he got involved with a woman from another band, and then at some point she quit her band and I think moved back to Manchester to live with him, at which point he decided that he actually liked his other girlfriend / wife and went back to her. But we make our own decisions in this life, don't we? But on to the Reckoning. I actually I love it's like I said, I've got a soft spot. The phased guitar, the kind of, it's a really nice chord progression, and it's a bit workmanlike in its beauty, and a little bit of nice hi-hat, and Mez is clearly punched in all over the shop. He's kind of like coming in over it himself, and it's cut in kind of interesting way. I think there's more going on than what is initially thought. You can just say, oh, it's a nice little indie tune, but there's a bit more going on. It can't hold a candle to New Puritan, and I think the music from New Puritan is actually the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and I think we should get rid of the words. Yes. Anything to say to that? Shots fired over here as well.
That's quite a statement, my friend.
Right statement. No, I quite like the words. I have a soft spot for those two. They're probably the best in the English language. And here's go, Philip. But while you're here, there's a line in it where he says, the grotesque peasants start the line, and deep down inside, everyone wants to like big companies. Bands send tapes to famous apes, male slags, male slates, and famous apes, which John Peel thought might have been about him. And somebody else has suggested it could be from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 4. Let the birds fly and the famous ape try conclusions in the basket, creep and break your own neck down about our failings from vanity. And
I think it's very clearly Oliver Cromwell admonishing the Commons for their reticence to give up on Catholicism. Obviously, that's what he's talking about there.
It was in the air at those times, weren't they? But just out of interest, who was the representative for Yorkshire at that time?
I don't know if you know this. It was a man called Henry Constable.
Oh, really?
Yes, from Burton Constable Hall, actually.
Ah, very good. Did
Also
he
the
represent?
representative for Headham.
Oh, very good. What years?
I think it
This
was
is going
about
to take forever, isn't it? It's going to take absolutely forever. So, all right, sorry. Let me get back on track. All right. So, as Stu says, Reckoning. I like the cyclical nature. Have I read this already? No, I like the cyclical nature of the riff, and I think it's a rare example of the wishy-washy indie vibe working for this band. It feels drained and deeply melancholy, but also pretty in a strange way. Maybe a precursor to the really good introspective songs littered through the late fall period. Quite a dense arrangement and way more than most of this LP. Definitely a highlight. While Snur says, on an album with too much daft shit, the melancholy of this always stands out. A highlight of the patchy permanent years, bringing fall trademark repetition to this track of delicacy. Usually reserved for the meat and two veg garage bangers, it is a brave and brilliant move. Surely all Craig's doing. I would say there's a good chance he brought that, but it's a strange move for Craig. And yeah, by Middle Class Revolt, I think the Bush era was on its way out, and we were starting to move back into a little bit more of Craig taking a little bit more of his center spot. But it didn't last long because Bricks came back, right? He was done for, but what could have been. So Dan has gone New Puritan. Alistair, which way are you going?
I'm going to go New Puritan. It's not a difficult one for me, but The Reckoning, it's all right. But it reminds me a bit of a half-finished Lou Reed song.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Yeah, I mean, it has got that charm about it, but a half-finished Lou Reed song is still worse than a fully finished song by everybody else.
Yeah. Fair play.
Vladimir, which way are you going? New Puritan or The Reckoning?
Yeah, New Puritan for me as well.
Oh,
yeah, just more impactful, I think, and especially the opening.
But what mode is it played in? I think that's what we need to know. Is it Mixolydian? Oh, it's Phrygian. It's
Phrygian, my friend.
That's
what I heard anyway.
I won't doubt you. If there's one thing it's modes. Philip Lee?
At least something.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the New Puritan, but minus the music.
The music, and then maybe most of the words.
Silence
in between the beats. Very good. I have to go for New Puritan. Stuart has given New Puritan 9,000 points out of 3, and The Reckoning not 2.7, so he does quite like it. But it is a rout for the New Puritan, and that takes us to the net showdown, which is I won't do the obvious thing and play that Oasis song instead of the My Ex-Classmates Kids, but that's only because I haven't heard it. How you do it. What's the other song? Learn with the Masters, Deutsche Grammophon. To lap a minute.
Read it. It's hard to live in the country and the present state of things. Your body gets pulled right back. You get a terrible urge to drink. Local surround. Oh, ladies, confiscate your gateway lanes for government campaigns. It's tough in home county. House. The locals have come for the Jew. It's hard to live in the...
Ooh la la, my ex-classmates' kids and a hard life in the country. Dan, your first stop, what do you got to say?
So let's remember how we got here. So my ex-classmates' kids defeated Where's the Fucking Taxi Cunts and Recipe for Fascism, and Hard Life in Country defeated Drago's Guilt and Jerusalem. So again, fairly reasonable that these are in this round. My ex-classmates' kids, so I saw The Fall in 2001 at the Footage and Firkin. The Fall gigography suggests that the new drummer had a generous 45 minutes rehearsal time, and it showed because by the time they hit this song, they were falling apart. And it's not the most difficult song, and I think I could get through this, and I'm no drummer. I've got some notes here. I'm just going to read this verbatim. Absolute dog shit, worst live. I like the reference to. So there's the lyric "Aftershave like little twigs." Is he talking about sandalwood? That looks.
I hope so.
Which that's an interesting thing to talk about in your Dross garage rock song. But this song's beneath me. I'm not even going to continue. Hard Life in Country. I think does this mark the point where Mez's relationship goes from a literary one where it's kind of like characters in the wood, like the Jawbone and the air rifle, to the point where it's like, actually, I just fucking hate the countryside. So, like, and I think I prefer the latter ones like Contraflow and what was the one we had last week that was basically him whinging about
M5.
M5, yeah. Although the tunes are usually better on the former kind. Am I allowed to spoil the thing that you sent us about this song?
Yes, please.
So Brendan sent us, just in advance of this podcast, the isolated guitars, or semi-isolated guitars. And like, I was tempted to say that this song sounds kind of medieval, but like the way it's isolated, like I'm going to presume it's Craig's guitar, so it's almost kind of like high life. There's something like
it's
very
weird. It's
quite
actually
peppy,
weird,
isn't it?
Yeah, I'll play a bit of it, but so this is the one tune where the guy from Ludus, Arthur Cadman, was invited in, because the way they recorded Hard Life in the Country, for those not in the know, and the whole of Room to Live album was just inviting different members of the bands in on different days. And so on this day, I can't even work out if it is Craig and Arthur Cadman playing together or Craig overdubbed later, but there's definitely it's a very inventive guitar going on, and doesn't build in the obvious way that you would expect. It does build, but it doesn't have huge soaring kind of noise break. Let's see if this works. We can have a bit of a listen. It's kind of quiet as well, the guitar, strangely enough, right? I know what Vlad's thinking. He's thinking that sounds exactly like O'Leary playing the guitar.
Almost.
No,
you know what it reminded me of? Sorry for jumping the queue. When I was listening to it, especially to the second riff, obviously you've got the the descending riff that goes in your left ear, but the funky-ish riff reminded me a bit of Let's Dance. So I was thinking, I was always hearing a bit of a Nile
Rodgers.
Nile Rodgers. I mean, I was just wondering when did the record come out? Before or after Let's Dance? So,
82, so it must have been a similar era. I think Let's Dance would have been 84.
I think it's before. So that's.
But obviously
where the
now Rogers was Chic were in the air.
Yeah,
83, so not too deep, like within a year.
So possibly that's where the Nile got his inspiration from.
Probably.
Possibly.
I imagine so. Dan, what was your the rest of your take on Hard Life? And I'm going to come to you next, Vlad, so keep those thoughts warm.
I enjoyed the medieval pestilence of it, and I never particularly enjoyed Room to Live as a playthrough album, but I think elevating this out actually does help this song, and I very much enjoyed this one. It's probably the most fun I've had with this song in 30 years of listening to it at some point.
It's really good, and again, I don't know this chap, Arthur Cadman, because he was in Ludus, but he was only in for a little bit, and then he was in a couple of other Manchester kind of bands, but nothing... I couldn't find any other examples of that kind of atonal, scratchy playing. So I'm sort of guessing he is doing the rhythm and that Craig's doing the kind of noisier kind of lead. But yeah, Vlad, what about these two for you? The garage rocker of my ex-classmates' kids and the Hard Life from 1982.
Yeah, my ex-classmates' kids. Very Mancunian sound, in my humble opinion, especially the opening. I can almost, when the guitar riff comes in, I can almost kind of imagine Sean Ryder walking on stage.
Yeah.
And taking over the show. Again, it's I don't know what to make out of the vocals and the lyrics, but I think, again, the music opens in a promising way, but kind of doesn't develop much further from that opening riff. So, which is a shame. Again, sound really, really good. After this, I might actually get a little bit more, into the fall, before I come next time onto the podcast. But
that's a presumptuous.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what else can I do? For the second one, again, as I kind of commented already before, that's the first thing that came to my mind. It's Let's Dance and Mr. Rogers. So, again, it's a shame that it's so repetitive, all of them. That's the only thing. So I know that the message is in the lyrics, and that's fair enough. But from the musician's point of view, they could have put a bit more effort. That's all I can say.
Effort.
If they were allowed to do that.
May I interrogate the guest, Brendan?
Sure.
Vlad, could you just maybe, because I did this to Phil last time he was on, could you just tell us about your kind of musical background, your general preferences, just so we can get maybe paint a kind of a terrible psychological portrait of you?
Oh, of me. What is it? I don't know. It's a kind of, it's very eclectic. So been involved in all sorts of stuff, making music with Mr. O'Leary present here and Mr. Lee as well. Started my music career in a punk band, moved into the indie, did some stuff, did a stint in a house music as well, classically trained, played in a jazz band, plays in a gypsy Balkan band as well. So bit of everything, I guess.
So you're a proper musician then, unlike me and Brendan.
He's proper. He's legit.
What does that mean?
Yeah, he's very. I'm going to say a few nice things, but he is a genuinely awful person. Sorry, genuinely nice and genuinely brilliant guitarist, and can hold the shit down on the drums as well. So
on a good day.
On a good day. So he's the go-to man if we want to analyze some of these tracks. But yeah. Good. But your big loves, you love Bossa and you love the Police, if I'm not speaking out of line.
The first couple of records of Police, I love.
The good stuff.
I like, the good stuff. Bossa, when we talk about Bossa, I really like the guitar work in Bossa, and being a guitarist. Although I'm not sure how relevant this is for this podcast, but anyway, I'll let you have it for a minute.
2 chords is one too many.
2 chords is one too many. That is our motto, for sure. In Fancy Milk, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. All right, Alistair, coming to you, my ex-classmates' kids in Hard Life.
Yeah, I quite like the recording of my ex-classmate kids. I think they should have done a lot more, the way they're going like really rough in the red. With some of the other ones where it sounds a bit too polished, but I do like the rough and raw stuff. The song's not like very technical. I don't know, Dan saying he thinks it's beneath him. To me, it's just like, I don't know, sort of stuff you can crap out all day. And he mentions crapping all day in there as well, which reminded me of Man Bites Dog, which is a cracking Belgian film, because there's a bit in there where he ends up, the protagonist ends up in hospital after a boxing match, and he's in, the guy in bed next to him sort of, I think he's supposed to have dementia or something, but he's just doing this song repeatedly, and you're going on about shit all day and a shit all night, and that's what that reminded me of. But yeah, it's repetitive, but not dead samey. And I find like the vocal line on the chorus, well, it was quite catchy, really. Like, even though it's like dead lame, I found it sort of like working its way into my consciousness as an earworm. But yeah, I Life in the Country from the Living Room LP. Yeah, we kind of like got into the recording situation behind the Mark experimenting with the HR. But yeah, Craig again, great performance. That's if it is Craig, as you've said, but the guitar really stands out on it for me. The drums are interesting because there's really not much going on with them. It's just sort of like, the cymbal hits and bass drum. Like, I don't think there's any snare in there. Might have been interesting to have heard it if they'd kind of put some snare in there, and you had like more of a kind of like 4/4 beat behind it. But instead, it's kind of like lumbering. But I don't mind it because it's nice and wonky.
No, there's a good version on Fall in a Hole that I was going to play some of, but it's not markedly different. I think the guitars are better on this version, but I think the other one does have a bit more of a full band. It might have a bit more of a fleshed out drum lineage. But Stuart says, my ex-classmates' kids, leaden and a bit boring. I do like the scuzzy garage sound. I like the drumming. It doesn't really feel like it goes anywhere, but it sounds like a guide vocal read off the back of a Behemoth. Not something I can get excited about. While the snare says, can't remember where that drum fill is lifted from, but that heavy debt to Roadrunner makes it fun. It is largely inconsequential as a magpie. Another of the Kidult stock replacers let us have a hit, ilk. And it's interesting he says magpie because we're going to come to the Dr. Buck's letter, which has the same opening lines as the song Magpie by Blur, but I'm sure that is just a coincidence. Philip Lee, what did you make of my ex-classmates' kids and Hard Life in the Country, their folk horror opus?
Yes, I would like to reference Vlad and say that he took the words right out of my mouth on talking about the first song.
Oh, yeah.
My ex-classmates' kids. So what I thought about that was that often I get a sense of that there's the vocals and then kind of there's other stuff that may or may not be relevant to whatever it is that he's doing. That's my take on it. But on this, I thought that the drums were quite interesting and quite had a character almost coming into their own, and as if the drums were say the lead of the song, but then also the lyrics as well. But 2/3 through, just before the verse where they say talking show never end to our populace, am I wrong in thinking that like the guitar is almost going to come out? It's almost going to have its own personality, but then it falls back into the background. And I thought, oh, I wish it had come out then. That was my take on that.
You're talking about the first song there still. What I like about that is the guitar is very low and like almost like strummed, which is just not what you do for a garage rocker, and that's why I sort of found it interesting. It sounds like like someone's strumming along and then someone else has joined in and played like some blown out drums that are cool, and it's just a super simple sing along, apparently written by manager and friend Ed Blaney. And there's another version called Wake Up in the City. But yeah, I mean, the guitars start to build up in the mix, but the mix is weird. Everything's too loud or too quiet. But that, for me, that's the charm of it. And it has a bit of charm. I like it. And just the notion of a song about my ex-classmates' kids, it's like, anytime he writes a song about something that nobody ever would think of writing a song about, you've got to love it.
I thought it felt quite cheeky, which I quite liked.
Indeed. What about Hard Life?
Yeah, I think when I'm struggling to kind of articulate any thoughts on it, then I have to go back to the default that I don't really have any strong opinions on it either way. Which, I apologize for that. I know you guys are very much more invested in these things than I am. But I want to there's a feeling when I listen to the Fourth Symphony by Brahms, where it's very strong and everything's together. Yeah, you know, Vlad. And there's a great sense of unity there. And then when I listen to a song like this, and I think I just want a bit more Brahms to it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't think it does.
It's strange how many people actually say that.
You know, I would imagine that there's probably a lot of people out there who would draw the same
This
conclusion.
scratchy post-punk song about
Yeah.
being attacked in the countryside just needs a smidge more Brahms.
I think it when I'm listening to Brahms.
Yes. And when you've got Liszt, Brahms and Liszt, that's what you need a little bit more of that.
In slang.
It's what I really like about it is, although I do really love the guitar and that like kind of faux funky, almost funk punk, but without the it's missing a big funky bass line and a big the Let's Dance thing is a great call because it's like you slam a really proper like funk backing track on that and add those over the top, you've essentially got a Gang of Four, and but better in every way. And but then the lyrics are brilliant, and I just absolutely love it. Not least of all his fourth reference to David Bowie over in his songs. And he can't even stick to his own premise because he just takes multiple detours. But it's hard to live in a country. It has a delicate ring. Nymphet new romantics come over the hill. It gets a bit depressing. Paper, local, drunken scandal, publisher address as well. Locals surround where you dwell. Old ladies confiscate your gate railings for government campaigns. It's tough in home county. Councils hold the ring. D. Bowie lookalikes permeate car parks. Grab the churches while you can. Portaloos.
So I tried to say this last time, but I got a bit tongue-tied, which is that I think that some of these songs are more performance art pieces. And I think that this is very much, if I look at it like a piece of performance art, it makes a lot more sense.
This one, absolutely, for sure. This is all other things considered, is Mark Smith's show. He just, from beginning to end, he's just dominating, and the guitar lines just add to it, but without it would still be an amazing performance.
I think there's an argument there for the calls. The Fall was a concept being performance art. You know, just sort of like what happened to him, reading those books, the stories, the scrapes, the bloody
Yeah, it's a soap opera, isn't it? It's but very much so in songs like this, and that's why I try not to be of the mind of bemoaning post 1983 Fall as being something lesser than the classic years, but we can't argue that New Puritan and Hard Life in the Country like pack a punch in a way that my ex-classmates' kids and the Reckoning do not. But we grow, we develop, we change, and there is love for all of it. Stuart says, Hard Life, this one has a lot of sauce, a lot of similarities to New Puritan, and I attempted to heap similar praise, but I think it differs in lots of ways too. This is more subtle with the build and instruments, and where Mez is fairly full-on in New Puritan, barking away. He's a lot more subtle, and this really works. The scream of villagers surrounding the house gets me every time, and Scanlan's guitar work is absolutely top tier and a lot more nuanced than New Puritan. Great fucking track. But it was about 2 years later and probably several hundred gigs, so he'd been through it by that point. Hard Life, Snare, for me, this and Detective Instinct elevate Room to Live to a far loftier status than is probably warranted. Assuming that it's Arthur Cadman playing that wonky funk riff, I'm completely in awe of him. It's one of my all-time favorite Fall guitar hooks. But because of the circumstances, he's one of the group's least respected contributors. Apparently he just got the call on the day and was never asked to come back again, which is really strange. But like I said, couldn't find any other examples of stuff of that quality. So if anyone knows more about Cadman, he did. The I.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T stuff is actually cool and pretty wonky. From what I understand, he'd left before they recorded that stuff, so that's not him. Okay, well, it's vote time, isn't it? This is like one of those first episodes where we would talk for about 45 minutes on a song, but that's what happens when you have 19 people in the room. I make no apologies. My ex-classmates' kids, Philip Lee, which way are you going, kids or country?
I think I have to go country because the lyrics are so strong.
Indeed. We all got country sooner or later. Dan?
It's country versus nothing, so country.
Indeed. Me, Hard Life in the Country, as much as it has its charm, I absolutely have to go that way. Vladimir, which way?
Same, going for the country.
Easy, isn't it?
Funky,
we don't want to
guitar riff.
say, that the Fall got shit after 1982, but we are making a very good case for it here. Alistair, which way are you going?
I think it's a whitewash, innit?
It is indeed. That's what they want you to think. Stuart has gone 1 for My Ex-Classmates Kids and 9,000 points for It's a Hard Life by Queen, which is unrelated, but I'm taking it as a step in the right direction for that young man. So it is easy. And that brings us to Dr. Buck's letter versus something Xyolthrep. Let's see what happens here. UNICEF, Noble. Essence of tongue.
She runs my dad 5 Amex card. They made such a fuss about giving it to me, but I spent more time getting it turned down.
Gotta love it. Breaking all the rules and doing it with such charm. I remember the first time I think I heard this. I was in Japan. I was walking just across the road, and it just so unexpected. The song's pretty great, and then he just starts reading the Pete Tong thing, and it's just hilarious. It was a laugh out loud moment. IRL. But Dan, I'm going to come to you first on the. I'm going to play this song out as well. Fuck you.
The Express Time Travel.
Maybe Stuart Lee had a point.
Whatever.
Vocal testaments of MES coming from the little town of Spec Master.
Well, thy real God, he mutters incomprehensibly, still on job 1, with alloys, the calibrator, in a cave not yet invented.
All right, now I'm really coming to you, Dan B.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so let's just remind ourselves how we got here. Dr. Buck's letter beat the title track off Middle Class Revolts, which is called Middle Class Revolts, and it also beat Cheetham Hill. And Last Commands of Xyolthrep via MAS defeated Inevitable and Folderol. That's off the last one, isn't it? Folderol.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting one. I'm going to do them in reverse order if you don't mind. When I was in my early Fall fandom, the Real New Fall LP was an incredible kind of experience because the last one had been so shit. And there was this sense that like they were really waning as a force, that like MES's problems might have overtaken him, his loss of all of his band members, increasingly poor recording. And then this album drops, and we all kind of know it's a fantastic record, feels very considered from beginning to end, feels one of the more, you might call like homogenous records, like it was considered as a beginning to end journey. And you can see evidence of it in this song, where there is a lyric that cues up a song to come later. What's the line? It's like, see later on album.
Yeah, he's talking about Mountain Energy, which I think eventually ended up before it on the album, but that's
right.
Great. That's Fall for You, right?
So I think this song does work better in the flow. It's a good, repetitive, tense little sort of indie post-punk kind of revisit. It's never been my favourite on the Real New Fall LP, but I enjoy it. Dr. Buck's Letter, on the other hand, is a titan. It's, I feel like it's probably one of the post-2000, 21st century songs that's got the best chance to go really far, possibly. Possible spoilers. The tongue stuff, I think other people are going to discuss. It's so funny. The Blake/Blur conversation you've already alluded to, so I'll leave that to you. Lyrically, what I'm interested in here is the deliberately archaic writing in the middle that almost becomes more archaic as it knots its way along. So I will read it because I've got it here. At least so we can recompense our betrayal of our hard-won friendship in vulgar and arrogant abeyance to what was untrue underneath our parlance. I've pointed this out before, his occasional lapsing or deliberate choice to go into kind of a medieval kind of a deliberately archaic form, and it almost comes to question how sincere the sentiment is in a way that I find really irresistible. Like, is this authentic, or does the language kind of demolish any kind of sincerity underneath it, or is he hiding a kind of a sincerity through a kind of a very overblown lyrical style? Musically, I love it. It's interesting because we had Secession Man, and that's kind of like synth hell. This is like using those similar tools in such a beautiful and very considered way. Also, last thing to say is, because we talked about Mouse on Mars last week, I feel like they've actually done a better thing than Mouse on Mars do themselves without the need of those guys on this song.
So apparently the lad Adam Hillel, who was only in for around that era of the Unutterable, like not there for very long, and I think he essentially made this front to back, and then Ben Pritchard talks about basically being called in. The very first thing he ever did with a brand new Stratocaster, I think he just bought the day before, and he'd only been playing the guitar a couple of years, and he got called in to do it because they had to finish it up, and so that beautiful guitar line over it is him, but everything else is the lad who was actually playing bass at the time and didn't stick around long. So Julia, who did all of the beautiful synth hell, but it wasn't necessarily part of this, but it's great, and I never took it as being serious in any way, but somewhere deep inside I think there is a meaning to it that's driving it. But Philip Lee, what do you think about Dr. Buck and the last commands of Xyolthrep?
I mean, it's quite thrilling, isn't it? The Dr. Buck's Letter. Yes. It's quite a thrilling song, For
me, it's a thrill. I can't speak for others.
You'd be quite right in being, elated of the first listen to it when you were in Japan, I would imagine.
Right.
I'd like to read you something.
Is it the Bible?
No. Having grown sure that his love is unappreciated, the artist poisons himself with opium. The dose of the narcotic, too small to kill him, plunges him into a deep, unaccompanied sleep by the most horrible vision.
Oh.
That is Berlioz describing how he wrote the fourth movement of the Symphonie Fantastique. Now, if you listen to that, you will be very much reminded of the song we are talking about. And I think it shows how music, the culture of music carries over the centuries. That's all I'd say about that.
Indeed. What about the other one?
Yeah, I was very unmoved by that, I thought.
Rubbish.
Yeah, I couldn't really get to, especially having just listened to Dr. Buck's Letter. I think it for me, it just, I really ought to have listened to it. Like when you have something very salty to eat, and then you have something that's salty, but not as salty, and then it tastes very bland. I think that's the comparison I can make.
I see. And they're actually from really close together, but it was a very turbulent time for the group. So the sound changed a huge amount. The entire band changed like 3 times over the course of like 3 years. So yeah, let's have a listen to that Symphonie Fantastique. Conducted here a little by our good friend Leonard Bernstein.
Oh, you have to go to the fourth movement, but still, that's only.
I'm on the fourth movement. I'm not starting from the beginning, mate. Those things last for fucking ages. Uncanny, but I get it. It's a thrill ride, and those big drums take us to where we want to go. But what the real question here is, what does Alistair Aspinall think of Dr. Buck and The Last Commands?
Well, I quite like the timpanist on that. That's very nice. Dr. Buck's letter. Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? Very much like the music is the sort of, it sits in the background, and I think it's more of a kind of a vocal thing. Even though the music is very nice, it's like very easy listening. The guitar's dead subtle, a bit trip hoppy, and there's a bit of kind of like in the red sound to it, so it's not too sort of nicey. But it could be roughed up a little bit more. Yeah, synth and guitar work really well together. Drum beats are okay. It's good generally. Last Commands reminds me of I Want to Be a Dog in reverse or something like that. You can hear like bits of Pixies in it with the guitar. And I don't know why I wrote Silver Apples, but there must have been something in there that reminded me of them. But yeah, I've not got a great deal of time for it.
Yeah,
probably one of the less enjoyable ones off Country on the Click.
In the grand scheme, it doesn't stand out, other than the fact that it's got that weird kind of title, and Mez's lyrics are actually pretty sweet. But as a song, I think
we ported it off because of the title already, because it's just too difficult to pronounce.
I've always taken it as the as the Lovecraft reference, because Lovecraft has the story about the crawling chaos. What is it? Nyarlathotep. Where the guy comes into the village and he kind of pollutes everybody's mind and basically turns them into zombies. It's a great story. I just always I'll think of those two as the same, so it adds a lot of depth to it that may not actually be there. Stuart says, Dr. Buck, brutal face-off for me here, both beautiful bits of work. This is one of their finest, programmed within an inch of its life computer numbers, and super scuzzy and noisy vocals that make up the arrangement are paradoxically polished and neatly placed with a really clear mix of elements. On other albums, this would be a blown out soup of sound, but it's polished within an inch of its life, and somehow all the better for it. A lyrical masterpiece too, with more evocative lines than some entire discography. Is beautiful. And he doesn't even mention, none of us have really mentioned the Pete Tong thing too much. I mean, it's a beautiful, ridiculous addition to a song, but the song itself survives very well without it. And actually, there's an argument that the Pete Tong thing takes away from what is the beauty of the actual dancing. No, you can have both. It's good. It's like watching an episode of Emmerdale Farm and then switching over and watching Takeshi's Castle, and you can enjoy both of those things together, can't you? Snare says, this seemed to be on every compilation for a while, and we see why. I reckon it won over a whole new generation of post-millennial Fall fans. That grinding synth gut is scarifying, probably the source of the brown note myth. I'm sticking it in my fall in dub playlist along with Sleep Death Snatches and Bug Day. Beautiful. I lost my temper with a friend. I mocked him and treated him with rudeness, and though I tried to make amends, feel I miss him and walk a dark corridor. Which, as I mentioned earlier, are very similar to the opening lines of William Blake's A Poison Tree. And Smith, we know in this era, got a Blake compendium for Christmas and was liberally sprinkling it through all of his songs. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath, and my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, and my wrath did grow. A lesson for us all there, I'm sure. What of your wrath, Vladimir?
Yeah, I mean, just musical references for me, nothing to do, no lyrical references. Yeah, very. I felt, today after I finally listened this morning to the playlist to share with me on my morning walk. Yeah, I felt very elated as well. This to the Dr. Buck's letter, which is fantastic. Couple of things that kind of came to mind straight away is definitely the Bristol trip hop scene for sure. Tricky, maybe some of the bit more rough Massive Attack as well. For sure. Another kind of clear reference, this might sound a bit weird, is the opening of the Blur song 2.
Okay.
The distorted
Those blown
drum
out
loops.
drums for sure, right?
Yeah. But yeah, really, really cool. I kept my pace as I was walking, listening to it.
Good walking music, would you say?
It's a walking music for me anyway. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but it will be on my jogging playlist from now on. That's for sure.
Very good.
For the second one, I think what Alistair said, it does have a bit of a kind of Pixies-ish or Pixie-ish, however you call it, elements, which I quite enjoyed as well, especially in a guitar work. And probably, in my humble opinion, the most advanced guitar work was in the last number that we out of all 6. So I'm not sure if that was deliberate sort of progression on your part.
Yeah, they got better throughout. I thought you'd appreciate.
I know. I sussed you out. I knew that's what you're trying to do. So. But that's the definitely enjoyed the guitar work in the last one. So keep bringing them on.
I also noticed the kind of the galloping rhythm in the Xyolthrep song with the muted kind of guitars quite low in the mix. But they keep bringing them up all the way through the song, right? We're not necessarily. It's almost as they're literally just increasing the volume without changing any of the dynamics or anything. It's just getting louder.
Yeah. But it almost seems, I don't know what they've done with the drum loop, because it sort of produces some clear pitches, apart from just playing drums. So it almost seems like the drums are the main instrument and everything else is kind of accompanying the drums. Which I thought was quite cool. So
Yeah, it's a long way. We're 2002 here, so what? Yeah, they are a long way from those early new Puritans. But yeah, this is post millennium. This is a really strong album. Yeah, this isn't my favorite track on it, but I think, like you were saying, Dan, it's part of an album that has a very strong feel, a very strong continuum throughout, and it fits very well. Almost every song from that album got voted through to the second round, but I think a good chunk won't make it through to round 4. Stu says a totally different slice of genius from Last Command. This one swarms and swims while Buck's letter feels like a well-planned and paced bit of storytelling. There is a heady, snarling piece of there is a very snarling piece of poetry, abstract in the aims, but effective nonetheless. The relentless build of the track is brutal and almost crushes the recording, which sounds like it has MP3 artifacts in there at some points, which I guess is what you're saying a little bit there. Yes, I'm moving around. I'm breathing. I'm stuttering. I'm walking. It's the end of days. The relentless.
Thinking about the heavy breathing thing.
Yeah,
I had pneumonia the other week, didn't I? That could have been me.
It could have.
Mockingly afflicted.
He might be talking about you. This is what he says. Oh, you know what? I listened to that F.A.L.L.O.U.T.P.O.D.C.A.S.T, and all I could hear was them breathing, and I after they should die. That's what he sounds like. The relentless build-up of the track is brutal and almost crushes the recording, which sounds like it has MP3 artifacts there. And I've already said that. MES phrasing is faultless. The capacity, fat, aggressive men and handsome, aggressive men deploreth thy real God. It's a fucking whisper written in an ancient, damp document found under sands in an obscure spot revealed after unexpected winds, only to be covered again on the rising of the sun. It is perfect. While Snur says, Right from the Roush Rumble drum intro, this harks back surprisingly to the early 80s gold standard, something every true Fall fan should be appalled by. The problem is it's also really good, and it would have taken a braver man than I, however, to flag that up with Smith, mind you. Locust, beware characters connected with car adverts, real, assumed, or imaginary. The vocal testament of MES coming from the little town of Speck Marsden. One, cash, the eternal fork out to keep everything normal is well beyond the capacity. Now, the only thing I would say is that we, if all goes well, we'll be chatting to Mr. G. Duff this week, Thursday. RB Square. And we shall be talking about Speck Marsden a little bit, which is the village I think that is mentioned in the Otherwise or in some of the treatments they have. So around that time, that was definitely on his mind as well. So I wonder to what extent he is dipping a little bit into the folk horror in his lines, like in a cave yet not invented or constructed. This is your vessel MES from he to you, the one MES procured. So, and this idea of him being a vessel and kind of representing these elder gods is a theme and an idea that he has explored in only the most abstract form in this song. And I would like more, as with always, but we don't get more, do we? But I believe it is time for us to take a vote, or have I missed somebody, as I always do? Nope, I have missed nobody. So, Philip Lee, which way are you going? I think I know. Is it Dr. B or Last Commands?
Oh, I think it's going to be Dr. B.
I think it's maybe Dr. B. What about this, though? Stuart, Dr. Buck. Dr. Buck's letter, 5,600 points. Last Command of Xyolthrep, 5,700 points. So turn up for the books. What about Dan? Which way are you going?
They're both excellent lists, aren't they? But
yes.
Dr. Buck's is a final list.
It is a final list. I didn't really make a big point of Xyolthrep being a list, but it is. He does number as Mez is wont to do, throw in numbers and lists. To deploreth thy real God, he mutters on incomprehensibly. The number of songs where he makes a list and he plays around with the idea of a list, and in this case referring to himself, MES, repeatedly, is something that is not done that often in the rock and roll music. And I applaud him for it, but unfortunately I'm going with the slightly earlier piece, and Dr. Buck is getting my vote. Alistair, which way are you going?
Dr. Buck.
Indeed, it's a route, isn't it? And Vladimir, I think I know, but make it so.
It is Dr. Buck.
It is indeed Dr. Buck. And so that takes us to the end of the show with New Puritan, Hard Life in the Country, and Dr. Buck's letter going through. Dan, justice been served?
For once, that is a triple threat of positivity.
It is, but the Reckoning, guys, I'll be sad to see it go. The other two, less so.
I'm going to bet now on Reckoning for round 3 bin recovery, if that happens, which I don't know if it's going to.
There's absolutely no fucking chance that is getting it. Let me read you while we're here, while we've got an hour or two. I'll briefly read you what is in that bag already. Iceland, Van Plague, Solicitor in Studio, Telephone Thing, Pledge, Bournemouth Runner, Contraflow, Ibis Afroman, English Scheme, The Man Whose Head Expanded, Dr. Faustus, I Come and Stand at Your Door, CNC's Mithering, Frightened, Fiery Jack, Graham Friday, Deadbeat Descendant, Tempo House, and The Joke. So
the campaign starts now.
That is already that's better than everything Taylor Swift did in the second half of her last album, and I stand by that. Philip Lee and Vladimir, it has been a delight. Thank you for putting up with us with all of our stuttering and breathing, and bringing some of your own.
Likewise.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite.
Take care, and I shall see you all on the other side. And boys, if you're around on Thursday, very happy, prep yourself some questions and read the Otherwise. Take it easy. Bye.
All the best. Good to see you guys.
10:30 Thursday.
Well, 10:30.
What, in the morning?
Yeah.
I might be able to make it because I'm not in work. But also I don't know a lot about this subject.
Well, I'll prep you a little bit, but don't worry. It'd
definitely be useful because I haven't got much of a clue beyond the counter after strong stuff.
What else is he doing? And I might be. I know we're primarily